I can't read all this shit.
I can't read all this shit.
That's gonna be my Casey case.
It would be-
Outtake.
Ponderous, man. Fucking ponderous.
It would-
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost. Cybertron!
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, non-binary people, and you know what? Fuck it, gender abolitionists. But if you're a gender absolutist, get the fuck out of here. Welcome
away
to
from
the
'em.
Autopod Decepticast. My name is Iron Jaw Aaron, and with me are two gregarious but grotesque gazetteers of G1 Gab and Gossip. I present to you Ralph and Ryan and Taxi Cab Caleb.
I am Ryan.
Hey.
What is this? I don't
Yep,
recognize the
I'm
reference.
Totally got nothing there.
Here is reference 1.
Oh.
Oh.
Here is reference 2.
Oh.
And here is reference 3. I'm talking about Garbage Pail Kids.
The grossest invention for children that's ever been. I remember I had these cards, and I remember watching the movie, and I've watched it recently, and it's fucking terrible.
There was a Garbage Pail Kids movie?
Oh, yes.
That I
It
did
is
not know.
quite bad. It's just, and also, I mean, I get, like, for kids, you know, gross is fun, but it's really gross.
Yeah, it's pretty silly. But it's fun. They took the gas out of those stuffy Cabbage Patch Kids.
Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, they're an answer to the Cabbage Patch Kids, which were cute dolls that you adopted. They came with an adoption paper. My sister got one. It was one of the hot toys for Christmas, and so
Huge
then people were
phenomenon.
like, "I don't like that you like this. Let's make a terrible
But they weren't
competing
dolls.
product."
I like, though, the idea that they came back not with
Dolls.
but with trading cards.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
should make
Pretty
dolls
genius.
of them, though.
I don't think so.
Well, I don't know how you make
Be
a
hard.
doll of some of these,
It's
but
pretty it's all
Iron
pretty
Jaw Aaron
surreal.
you could make here, which
Yeah.
is a cute kid, but his whole mouth is like a bear trap, basically, and he's devouring some
screws and
bolts
nails. That doesn't mean you have to eat metal, but whatever.
Then you've got Ralph and Ryan, which is a fireman who's up on a high ladder, presumably to save somebody from this inferno of a building, but he's just puking all over them.
I mean, at least he's using his disgusting skill for good.
There are eyeballs coming out of his
Oh,
vomit. It
no.
was a giant projectile.
Well, the
of
implication
teeth.
there is that he's a cannibal. So
And then Taxi Cab Caleb, I feel like that's the weakest use of the name. What am
He
I
just
looking
got-
for? Anonymous.
I'm just shocked.
Assonance?
alliteration.
Alliteration.
I'm just shocked that they actually threw the name Caleb in there.
Taxi Cab Caleb is he's a cute kid that's been run over by a
He's-
taxi
that's
cab.
his whole thing. Is he
I'm-
just got smooshed?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's funny that you mention that you're surprised that Caleb even made the mix because, well, actually, before I transition to that, we've got more Garbage Pail Kids with your name on it.
Okay.
But the thing I wanted to bring up first is that you remember the concept of there were doubles. So every illustration actually had at least two
Oh yeah.
fancy,
I don't
hilarious
remember that.
names.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Iron Jaw Aaron was also known as Gene Machine.
Yeah,
I kind of
sure.
like Iron Jaw Aaron better.
That's much better.
The Ralph and Ryan was also Vomitin' Victor.
That's better. I like that name better.
And then Caleb's was actually Flat Tyler,
I like
which
that.
is
That's way
100%
better.
better. Like
That's
they were reaching with
that-
the Caleb
yeah.
one.
Yeah. That's Flat Tyler is much better.
Whoever made Taxi Cab Caleb got canned.
Yeah. They should have named him Canned Caleb after that. I looking here, if you have mint condition like Garbage Pail Kids from like 85, like
Mhm.
the first one, number 1A, Nasty Nick, it'll bring you $7,500.
Ooh,
Wow.
There's some other ones. Atom Bomb,
I remember that
That's
one.
a classic.
Yeah.
one.
that'll bring you $4,000. Evil Eddie, $2,200, which is Evil Eddie is again the same image as Nasty Nick, but Nasty
Okay.
Nick is more because it's that first one.
I can't remember what
baby.
Atom Bombs.
It's a kid sitting on the ground blowing his. There's a
Well,
there's a
a
mushroom
mushroom
clown coming out of his head.
What I was trying to say was what his alternate name was.
Oh, I'm sure.
I went ahead and researched if there were any other Garbage Pail Kids with our names, And so Ryan, you have or Caleb, I guess we'll start with you. You've got a couple. There's clotheslined Caleb.
He's being decapitated by a wrestler.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's also cubed Caleb, which it's
What?
just
That's
it's
weird.
like a kid in Vegas or something, and he's vomiting dice.
That is very
weird.
strange.
That's weird.
But that's all I could find for you.
It's
Ryan, there was a lot more. There was
It was a very popular name in the 70s.
there's Fryin' Ryan, which is kind of a Godzilla stomping on the city. There's Dryin' Ryan, which is pretty weak.
It's a
honestly.
kid on a clothesline. What the fuck?
It's one of those clotheslines that are suspended over a
Dryin'
like,
Ryan.
high-rise apartment
Yeah,
buildings.
in the city, they run from window to window.
There's also Running Ryan. He is running for class president, but he's duct
Been
taped to the
taped to
wall
the
or
wall.
something. I guess he's bullied. And then Right Ryan, which I can't tell if that's supposed a fake or not because the art's not as good. But it's a sort of a conspiracy theorist, doomsday, end of day person wearing a sign.
He's wearing a sandwich board.
He honestly looks like he could be storming the Capitol.
Yeah, he's part of
So-
that movement. It says the end is near on the
his-
sandwich board.
Yeah, and the city's burning all around him.
Guess who came up with Garbage Pail Kids?
Art Spiegelman. Yeah, I thought that was
we
really
talked about
interesting.
that a little bit when we
Okay.
interviewed Flint Dilley.
Yeah,
I think.
that's
I
right.
forgot about that. That's fascinating.
Yeah, because Flint Dilley was responsible for
For
the
the
Garbage
the
Pail
show.
Kids TV show.
Yep.
Full circle.
And then just, I was shocked to find that there was a lot more Aarons than Ryan's.
It's
I was not
biblical.
surprised that Caleb wasn't as included, but there's Baron Aaron, which is a sphinx.
Weird.
And there's Up in the Aaron, which is a clown juggling, but he's juggling eyeballs and
And he has no eyes.
fake teeth. Hot Aaron.
Oh no.
Just I can't tell if he's blowing a balloon or like a
He's
bubblegum bubble, but he's also
the
farting, and the fart is like this explosive, toxic green just explosion
That's weird.
launching
Yeah,
into
that's
the
a-
air.
That's a
going
weird
on.
one.
Armless Aaron, where it appears an Aaron has
What the fuck?
taken his own eyeballs out of his head and put it in a snowman, and then somehow took both of his own arms off and put them on the snowman.
I also like
Okay.
that since it's cold, he has snot coming out of his nose.
Can't do anything about that. My arms are gone. Then there's Pumping Aaron, which is this is like pumping iron, maybe is what the it's supposed to sound like, but it's a bike. He's got a bike tire in his mouth, or bike tire pump in his mouth, and he's inflated. And then finally, there's Accurate Aaron, who's supposed to be like Aaron Burr, and he has done some target practice, and he's ready to shoot
On it.
Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah, he's done target practice in a shooting range with a paper target that says Alexander Hamilton on it.
and it's bleeding profusely.
That's weird.
So those are the errands.
Wow.
Little fun trip down memory lane. I don't remember a lot of these.
Yeah, I don't remember any of these.
I collected them a little bit, but
I think everybody just kind of had to. It was just given
Yeah.
to you by the universe.
I think you would. It was the kind of thing that you would take to school and trade with friends if they didn't have one, or you had doubles or something. You'd try to wheel and deal. Did you ever do that?
Sure, maybe.
Like
I don't know.
Pogs.
I think the whole thing, the long and the short of the appeal is just like being edgy. Of like, your parents will hate this.
Right. Yeah. But it's pretty inconsequential, really. Okay, Ryan.
Mm.
I don't know if you want to scramble our microwaves.
Hey, I'll hook you up.
Today's
A
cocktail
little
of the
note.
week.
I am wearing I'm wearing the necktie, one of the neckties Aaron and Melody gave me for Christmas, and I like it a lot. The only problem that I have with all neckties made after like 1970 is that they're so long. Like they're made for people who are like 6'5", so I always have this little tail sitting that I have to tuck into my pants. Anyway,
sorry.
that's pointless. But I just wanted to say I like this tie and thank you.
I'm sorry that you're on the wrong end of the bell curve for ties.
I'm a
It's-
normal size man.
It's a really cool outfit too.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
What do we got?
Yeah. This is, I went back to the original well of Jigger, Beaker, and Glass for this one. I chose this drink in honor of our friends in the state of Georgia, particularly the people of color who came through to balance the Senate and get that melting ass hat, Mitch McConnell, out of the majority leader seat. So this is a Savannah Planter's Punch. It's from page 111. It's almost a tiki drink.
Yeah, it's really.
I tested this one, and I'm sorry, what were you saying, Caleb?
I just said yummy.
I tested this one, and I altered it a little by adding some simple sugar and grenadine because it was a little unbalanced in my opinion. and sweetness can often accentuate other flavors. I've been getting super into like the science of cocktail creation, and it's now occurred to me that some of the drinks in this book, Jigger Beaker and Glass, were recorded like spang in the middle of Prohibition, which is like the worst time for cocktails.
Well, nobody had real. I mean, they were invented during that time, right?
That's
Ryan?
a common misconception.
Oh well, please correct me.
The golden age of cocktails was the late 1880s.
Okay.
And so this one is 2 ounces or 60 mils of cognac, 1 ounce, 30 milliliters of rum, 1 ounce of pineapple juice, 1 ounce of lime juice, and a half an ounce or 15 milliliters of simple syrup. Shake with ice and then double strain into a large glass tightly packed with shaved or crushed ice. And I have a Lewis bag, which is what they were was they're basically bank bags that were repurposed to crush ice.
Huh.
Yeah, so you put the ice in there and then you hit it with a hammer. And then that's how you make crushed ice.
And that's how you made this crushed ice?
Yeah.
Old school.
Yeah, the ice trade started in the early 1800s, actually. And that was one of the ways they did it.
Wow. That's amazing.
And then, I floated it with a little grenadine and garnished with pineapple cherry and orange slice. I used a paper umbrella, too, because I'm fun.
Yeah, this is very tasty. This is the kind of drink that I imagine a lot of sorority girls ordering in a giant punch bowl, and all of the 10 straws coming out of it, and everybody sucking it down as quickly as possible.
This drink's more sophisticated than that, in my opinion.
Well, because we're drinking it.
Aaron did get me some tiki, like a tiki cocktail set, which was a bunch of glasses or wooden glasses in a bowl. And this summer I'm gonna make some punches for us to
Awesome.
dip out of that. But yeah,
I'm excited about weather to get warmer already. This time of year is such a drag.
it is. It's a bummer.
I like it.
I do like some of the super inside references the book makes for this recipe. It says when urging of the use of good rum, it says, "This recently born swarm of new, strange rums can no more replace even a fair Jamaican, Barbados, or Haitian rum than Mr. Chrysler can play the E-flat nocturne on a turnip crate." That is an impenetrable sentence.
You know they felt really good about it.
They were really
though.
proud.
That
themselves.
sentence is so waspy, its mom bribed its way into college.
Yeah.
Good joke.
It is.
Thank you.
So back to the misconception about cocktails from this time. My perception would have been that cocktails were invented to mask the poor taste of bootlegged liquor
That
or
was-
homemade liquor, and also if it was early in the phase of cocktail making, people just aren't good at it yet. They're not. It's not a science that had been developed.
Yeah, it's the complete opposite. Like the bartenders of the 1880s, like this is the kind of stuff they were making, and like very like the classic
with ice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the ice trade they had this peak in the 1880s.
Okay.
And like the classic 3 ingredient cocktails like martinis, Manhattans, old fashions, those were all made pre-prohibition.
Okay.
And so prohibition, was about covering up the taste of terrible liquor, and that's why the cocktails from that era are so bad. There are very few that have actually survived, and all the good bartenders and everybody who knew about mixology fled to Europe. I'll make a prohibition era cocktail.
So when we talk about the golden age of cocktails, that was in America, in the United States.
All over the world, but yeah, in the United States, definitely the late 1880s.
Okay, well,
I've been watching a lot of how to drink on YouTube.
I can't wait for the opportunity for me to correct somebody about when the golden age of cocktails is.
Do it real
was.
pedantically like I would.
Yeah, I will.
Well,
I'll take
actually,
some cues.
Go get a stool up at Golden Girl. You'll have a chance within like 10 minutes, I'm sure.
Shots fired.
Speaking of that, like in tiki drinks, I do want to get some tiki mugs. This is basically in a big old beer stein mug, but
My intent is actually to convert the bar area at my house into a tiki
Oh, God, it'd be
themed
so awesome.
bar
That would be
area. So
cool.
I want to rip off the current countertops, just replace them with something more tiki-esque, and then where those mirrors are, just probably some plain blonde wood, and just put shelves over there. I want to keep the mirror.
mirrors,
I think
keep the
keep the mirror,
mirrors.
but just the way it is now, where the shelves are awkwardly lined against the wall, like do it across the
yeah,
mirror,
that'd be awesome.
and then put some.
I want a
stuff
home
up
bar
there.
someday. I always said in St. Louis I'd turn that basement into a bar. With having kids around, it wasn't in the
Cards.
stars, in the cards. Yeah,
In the, what do you call them? Flat. They're like paper, but thicker.
Some of them have pictures.
They're waxy sometimes.
it wasn't in the garbage pail, kids. Okay.
This is an awesome cocktail. Good job, Ryan.
I think it might be a touch sweet. I might back off the simple a little bit, but it's not bad.
That's a note
Once you
to
drink it-
Ugly Mike out
drink-
there. When you make this, just back off the simple, just a tab.
Drink it. I think a lot of the simple settle to the bottom. The more I drink it, the less sweet it gets.
It's shaken, so it should be all incorporated. But
I don't know. I think you did a bad job.
okay, yeah, I somehow separated it after shaking it.
I just wanted to give a quick shout out. We haven't really done this very often, and a lot of people who have a Patreon account do a good job of like in everything they do. They'll somehow publish, really with YouTubers, they'll do like a credit of all their patrons. And so I want to do a quick shout out to all of our patrons and just thank you all. It's getting to know you is amazing, and it's a privilege, and we're honored that our podcast means enough to you that you would help fund it. Every time I look at this microphone, I am reminded that we couldn't do this without you and wouldn't be where we are without you. So with that, Ernie, Toby, Deborah, Sean, Jeff, Mike, Jeremy, Grace, Aaron, that's me, Michael, Justin, Jonathan, Robin, and Daniel, thank you so much for contributing to the podcast.
Thank you.
We look forward to keeping it going, and if you got any booty box ideas, throw them our way.
I've made some stuff. I've got some things in the works.
Yeah. Any previews
Yeah, and I
you
do-
want to give?
No. I do like that most on all the YouTubers and also most podcasts, they do this at the end, but we force you to listen to it at the beginning.
I want to make sure everybody knows.
Yeah.
And those
I'm
people
fine with
and
it.
the people that contribute, that you know that their names are going to be listened to by all of our listeners.
That's right.
That's right.
And if you would like your name added to that list, please
Patreon.com/APodDecast.
contribute. It's a good time.
It's a fucking party every
It's like
week.
a VIP room within the APDC house.
We
That's
do
true.
need to start thinking about more stuff for booty boxes. I think like August or September we have to send out another one. So
Okay, that's fine. We got time.
Well, then I didn't really write a last episode recap. I fucked up.
Doesn't matter.
Let's get into Transformers episode 34, Blaster Blues, written by Larry Strauss and drawn, filmed, and drawn and filmed and drawn and filmed again and again and again by Toei.
mm-hmm.
I will say, since you went ahead and mentioned the animator, I think, in my opinion, this is a well animated episode. I do think, though, that it is a very scatterbrained episode. But
In a lot of ways.
It's a terrible
I agree.
episode.
I was not really engaged with it at all, and that's saying a lot for me.
It had a lot of things that had potential, but it
Yeah.
was kind of boring. It had Blaster. I mean, we're maybe getting way ahead of ourselves.
True.
with-
It's
but-
a poor showcase for Blaster.
Totally. You're going to spotlight Blaster, and he's barely in
And
the episode number
He's
one.
basically an episode bookend.
And it's a I don't know. It's an interesting showcase for a lot of characters. I thought,
Well,
man,
it
they
is
could-
a showcase, I
yeah,
guess.
and
It's
but
not
it's
necessarily an interesting
it's
one.
a weird, yeah. It's an uninteresting showcase. I thought they could have done a lot better to bring a lot of these people.
It is impressive to make an
Transformers,
episode about Blaster so boring.
Yeah.
I know it sucks because I want to love Blaster.
It could have been written better, but it seems like it just none of the different. It's got a bunch of different topics,
Mhm.
and none of them really get where they really need to get.
It's
to
just
make
weird.
Make
it's
it good.
just all weird. We'll get
It's a grab bag of ideas that it just feels like they didn't sew it together.
The writer probably was like, okay, I gotta. They probably said you need to put in Blaster. You need to put.
I'm sitting here realizing I don't think I did research on Larry Strauss, so maybe we'll do that live. But let's open it up.
All right.
I do know we did
we'll
talk
get
about
more
this
into it.
episode actually in our interview with Flint Dilly because
Well-
we'll get to it about
Okay.
the Voltronic Galaxer.
Oh, okay.
All right. Cool.
Okay, great. We open up on a typical everyday teen social event, an outdoor arena rock concert. And I want to just go ahead. I've got the volume on and just record some of the
Okay.
the first moments, the opening moments of this episode.
Isn't this the worst thing you've
Good
ever heard?
Lord, I didn't
in
realize
your
how
life?
bad the beat of the drum was. Also, I will say,
I don't know music. I've never been to a concert, really. I don't think people sit in their seats.
I can tell you a couple of different things. First of all, to Aaron's comment about the music's terrible, it is, and the reason it is, they've taken some sort of song and then they've put that famous guitar riff on top of this,
Right.
different tempo, turned it up the volume on the guitar riff.
Right.
and done some sort of drum beat.
So
and
I can
some
tell.
melody.
I can tell you exactly what's happened.
All right,
Okay.
tell me.
What's
Yeah,
happened
you,
here?
you prepared to talk
and
about
by-
it. Do it.
Yeah, and
Do
by
it.
the way, and so they're at an outdoor arena rock concert. You got Spike, Carly, you got Blaster
In his
along
tape
with them.
deck
In tape
enormous
deck
mode.
and he is the biggest tape deck. Yeah, and also I don't think the concert venue would let you bring a tape deck to a concert, but
I would imagine
No.
not.
I guess he's paying for a seat though, so
But I'm sure as a music lover, Blaster is driven nuts by this. Here's what's happening. So yes, the song that inspired our own theme song, that electric groove known
Yep.
as auto bop, sometimes generic rock, depending on what YouTube site you're on. That's the starter song, but the audio editors either were drunk or maybe this was a creative decision, but they overlaid Cold Slither over the top of that. So what you're hearing is Autobop and Cold Slither at the same time.
Wow, I didn't realize
They're
that.
so good separate. Let's put them together.
Yeah. It's a mess.
It's just a very strange thing to happen.
It's disorienting. It must be, and to me, it's like maybe this is what Ryan hears when he hears music all the time. But Ryan, your comment about them sitting down, actually not uncommon for crowds to sit in certain other cultures during rock concerts. Or different times, depending on the country and the social political climate. Like I've seen concerts in Russia, and they sit still because if they express themselves too much, they
Might feel joy.
it's an expression of being possibly subversive, and they call attention to themselves.
Yeah, you sent a link.
I'm
It might have
serious.
been in the
Christ.
it might have been in the APDC thread with Mike Seibert, where it was a really awesome new wave Russian, like communist Russia era new wave band,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was a fucking awesome jam, and it was crazy because the artists are all gothed out, glammed out. They
Yeah.
look like musicians,
Yeah,
legit musicians.
yeah.
They had that one chubby guy with the mustache.
That's great.
But then the song was awesome, but the crowd is just
They're really
sitting
reserved.
and staring like they're in a library.
So with that, it's like a socio-political aspect. I've seen a lot of Japanese performances too, where a lot of them are sitting, and there's more, not really necessarily a political pressure there. There's a social pressure there of being reserved. Like there's a thing about expressing yourself emotionally publicly to music that is
Just frowned upon.
and then even like earlier, like rock concerts in the United States, like if you were to see a concert like in the 50s, kids going crazy was pretty revolutionary and subversive. Japan is pretty cool. I've been watching a television show on Netflix called Midnight Diner about a restaurant that's open from midnight to 7, about the people that come in there, and it's in Japanese. If you're like me and like things like Romance of the Three Kingdoms on Nintendo,
If
I
you're
think
boring.
I think you'll also like this show very much. I keep trying to push it on all my friends, and I get no response back. But I highly recommend people check out the Netflix.
All right, I might check it
It's
out.
on Netflix now, but it was a Japanese. It's a Japanese television show called Midnight Diner.
And it's a hit in Japan.
Yeah,
right?
it's a hit internationally.
Mhm.
The first 3 seasons are called Midnight Diner. The ones that were done exclusively for Netflix is called Midnight Diner Tokyo Stories. So make sure you start with the first Midnight Diner series. It's very good.
All of you out there scrambling for your Netflix
I
remote.
think Ryan would like it.
I'll check
would
it out.
like It. It revolves around food.
Yeah, I watch almost anything that is food related.
Yeah. And I see Ryan actually going to Japan and opening one of these Midnight Diners.
West and I definitely would like to visit Japan.
Oh, I
That's,
think it'd
that's
be
I'd
high
be
on
down
the
to
list.
go.
Let's go. Is there any TF cons is there any Transformers conventions in Japan?
I don't know.
I'm sure there are cons in Japan.
Oh yeah,
without a
but is
doubt,
there any
but
Transformers conventions?
I don't know.
I don't have those numbers.
We need to go and organize a Transformers convention in Japan and Australia, of course.
Of course.
That's-
It's going to work out really well for us not knowing the culture or language very well.
Doesn't matter. I think they'll find us very entertaining. They'll be like, they'll intriguing.
I have some input also. if you go to a concert, even in the United States, in a contemporary setting. I've been to I've seen Beyonce, Rihanna, like
I
giant
get
pop
it. You're rich.
superstars in like giant arenas, like basketball arenas.
It's not that he's rich. He just likes to go do things, Ryan.
But
And he likes music.
But if you're in an arena that has seats, people will sit in those seats. Some people will stand up and dance. Some people won't. But a lot of people will sit in their seats through the concert. Sure. And you have a floor, and obviously people on the floor will be standing. But even then, the floor, you'll have floors. Like
there you go.
Seats
I don't know. I think people are sitting down because they don't know how to move to this haphazard shit going on.
And
stage.
that is a jam-packed arena, man. They are here to hear some shit.
Yes, they are.
And they're hearing shit.
I think the audience would like us to move on.
Sure, sorry.
Do we want to talk about some other cultural things we know
We're
nothing
like
about?
2 seconds into the episode. Yeah.
The two teen lovers are loving the shredding guitar, but are sad that the other bros back at the Autobot base can't hear it. But no worry, because it turns out Blaster is auto-bootlegging this whole concert.
Yeah.
Hey, this ain't the Grateful Dead.
I wrote down bootlegging. He's illegally recording that concert.
Well, there you go.
Look.
Spikes out of his chair, pelvis thrusting.
Yeah, if we'd have waited 2 seconds, we wouldn't have had this whole conversation because they are clearly out of their seats dancing.
That's really funny.
Cosmos is shown flying drunkenly almost to the sound of the music. Why Cosmos of all? I guess it's in retrospect. My notes say, why did they use Cosmos
like
to
a
show this?
satellite.
But I guess it's kind of previewing that Cosmos and Blaster
Get together, and
form a
Cosmos loves it.
relationship. Yeah.
So we go to the Ark, and then we see Omega Supreme. I think that this is the first time we've seen him.
I believe you're right. They don't make a big thing out of it.
They should.
No, the next episode a little bit more, but I like him mostly because of his cool design, and it's so different that I was like, this is definitely a different company, toy company.
Did you do the research? You're
I
going to
did.
get into it right
Yeah.
now?
I did a little bit,
I mean,
yeah.
Mega Supreme was badass.
Yeah.
It's a badass toy.
Essentially, it was a license from a company called Toy Box, and the toy was called Super Change Robo Mechabot. It was never released in Japan during the 1980s run as Omega Supreme because of that. And then Skylinks was also another toy designed from this company. That's all I have.
No, good way to sum it up. We're back at Autobot base. You got Optimus Prime, Sparkplug. They're calibrating the targeting of Omega Supreme. And about that time, Blaster's audio abortion comes blaring over the airwaves.
They are not here for it.
They do not like it.
Hoist explains this is what humans call, quote, music. And Sparkplug exclaims, not this human.
I like
Okay,
how
Boomer.
the Autobots don't really understand how to mute audio on
Yeah, you
Teletran.
think that they would have...
They're just stupid.
They're advanced.
Yeah.
Oh, there is one
I
Autobot
beg
who
to
digs
differ.
it, though.
Oh, jazz. Of
Jazz is
course.
that
Yeah.
famous GIF we see all the time.
Twirling around.
What kind of music do Prime and Sparkplug vibe to?
It's just like white noise.
What Ryan vibes to?
I like quiet. I have this album called Shh.
I think Prime would strike me as probably like a guy that listens to Nickelback.
Oh, no.
No. I would think like old jazz, maybe.
I think like
Mel Torme.
Or, maybe like outlaw country because he's a truck.
Oh yeah, maybe he probably likes like Johnny Cash. Yeah, I think Prime would really like Johnny Cash. Yeah. I agree with that.
We transition to a giant observatory. Some Heihachi Mishima-looking ass astronomer is leading a press conference. Shout out to all my Tekken people out there. Waxing philosophic about the Earth's place in the universe and proclaiming that there must be intelligent life out in that universe. And his new invention, the Voltronic Galaxer, is going to convert his voice into pulses that can be decoded by this hypothetical extraterrestrial life.
Isn't that just
Do you guys,
radio waves?
But did you guys take notes that the fact that alien life is already proven?
It's
Yeah.
true.
In this universe, it's
Th-
settled.
This whole bit is a problem. So the Voltronic Galaxer. We talked about this thing in our interview with Flint Dilley. This is one of those scripts that Flint and Jay Bacall received where it was a turning point. Like it reached critical mass where they were questioning what kind of show they wanted to have. because the Voltronic Galaxer is a stupid MacGuffin that means it's just so lame, and so they kind of wanted to move away from stories like this with just what quote unquote bogus plot devices.
Gotcha.
And we'll see. Actually, Buzz Dixon used the term Voltronic Galaxer in the 1986 G.I. Joe episode "My Brother's Keeper."
So you gotta get.
When Buzz used it, was he mocking
Yes.
the concept? Okay.
I believe that's the conceit. Yes.
So we've reached a point with that trope where even the writers are like, "I'm fucking tired of this."
Yeah, it was kind of like I said, Flint talks about it being like a moment where they were like, "What is this? What we want to be doing?"
Just every episode is a corny ass MacGuffin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, for
'Cause
now, we've got to deal with it.
to the you get to the point where this MacGuffin is like they're searching for something that they already know about.
Right.
yeah,
It's so stupid. Yeah,
They
back to your
call-
earlier point.
it-
This is so stupid on so many levels because they know extraterrestrial life
They're
exists.
searching for extraterrestrial life. The extraterrestrial life steals the
Right.
technology that they use to search for extraterrestrial.
He calls
life. And
extraterrestrial
then he
life
calls
to
extraterrestrial life to help.
it out. Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. Essentially, this is just SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence,
Good
which
God.
should have been.
This guy's an idiot. But
Maybe he
You know-
just likes organic
Ooh, yeah,
extraterrestrial.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe
These are
he's
just
Oh, he's
ro-
racist.
these
Yeah.
are just robots.
Exactly.
They're mechanical.
Right.
They don't have souls.
right. Yeah, they're
Right.
not going to heaven when
I-
they die.
Or maybe it's like, I don't like this extraterrestrial
Right.
life. I really want to see if there's any other extraterrestrial life out there.
This is not for me.
that's-
It's like whenever the Europeans came over to America, they're like, "Look at this whole place that nobody lives on." Excuse me,
And the indigenous community is like, I mean,
we're already here. No. We'll, don't worry, we'll keep our promises.
yes, we
That
always
is an
do.
Eddie Izzard
Here,
bit.
have some blankets.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
sad.
So I maintain, with as many other important scientists like myself do,
Yeah, well, you have
that the search
you
for
dress like it.
Yep, that's all you need. I didn't go to 4 years of fake scientist school to be called Mister.
That's right.
But anyway, I maintain the search, like SETI and searching for extraterrestrial life, reaching out to it is a bad idea.
It is. I mean, it theoretically is. There's a series of books called Three Body Problem that tackle that, where it's like, basically, you don't want to let any, based on our behavior here on
Yes.
Earth, you don't want to alert any advanced civilization that you're here, because odds are, and it could go both ways, but odds are they will come. If they know you're here,
They would be
come
imperialists.
they're going to
Yeah.
come and exploit you.
Yeah.
That being said, the counter argument is, if they have managed to advance themselves far enough to have interstellar travel, one would hope that they have been able to. The only way that they could achieve that kind of advancement is through.
Reaching an ethical point where
right.
it wouldn't. I don't
Yes.
buy that argument at all.
Well, but yeah, you're, and I can't support it. I can't support it because we have no way of knowing.
I mean, but it's also like that's the same argument as like the fact we were able to travel like the seas.
Yeah.
Like, and we
So
made it to a new
the-
world.
but
That doesn't make
In
any.
theory, we're not as evolved as these creatures. It takes a lot
That's
higher
just pure
level of
speculation.
technology to do that than
it's-
it does to cross an ocean.
It's optimistic, but
It is.
if you model it after the behavior here on Earth, it's the odds are against us in that situation.
Yeah. I just think the downside is so far down that the upside is not worth being like optimistic.
But I do think, though, that it's really important for us to advance our knowledge of the universe.
Oh, absolutely.
And I do think that we should continue to pursue the technological advancements to allow us to go beyond this planet.
Completely. Like I think it's
you have to.
the Heinlein argument, or is it Heinlein or is it? Oh shit, Vonnegut maybe, that said that like the Earth is just too small and fragile to keep all our eggs in.
Yeah, and if you look, in my opinion, if you look at like any kind of life form on Earth, you've got a plant that has seeds and it spreads it. I think that in a way, like the Earth is hopefully you think of it as a seed.
Yeah.
That has certain stages. Some seeds make it, and some seeds don't. And hopefully we can.
There is also the
Make it
other
through
argument that we're not reaching anybody or nobody's contacting us because once a civilization reaches that point, they destroy themselves.
I would say that yes, there's that filter where many do, but I would think that there is statistically there will be a small percentage that can make it through that.
Yeah, just given the numbers, but like I think the whole point is like it's more of a philosophical comment on like we've almost done that to ourselves many times.
Absolutely. Yeah, and most I think probably most other civilizations have failed.
Yeah, and
the odds are against us.
This is just also pure speculation, but I think maybe a reason for that is because to develop like intelligence, what quote unquote, carnivores generally tend to be smarter than herbivores because they have to be.
Yeah.
So like the idea is that any species that evolves to be the dominant species on a planet is probably going to be aggressive.
Yeah, baby.
Well, so could there not be a middle ground? It's probably pointless for us to broadcast because even if we assume the intelligent life is
benign
or wants to be helpful,
mm-hmm.
they probably are going to be very cautious in approaching us. And if they have the ability to perceive our transmissions, they probably have the ability to watch us and spy on us and understand that we're in a fucked up place.
That is actually the Star Trek Prime Directive
Sure.
And
argument.
so the middle, I guess there could be a middle ground. Like, why transmit? If they want to find us, they'll find us one way or another. And if they don't necessarily need they probably won't need our transmissions.
I really tell people this. You guys, people should really read the Three Body Problem trilogy. It's a Chinese author. His name doesn't come to mind. I read it. I couldn't read it fast.
It's on my list.
Three Body Problem, and it tackles the issue of contacting alien life forms.
And then the other thought that I just wanted to just the idea of extraterrestrial seeding. Anyway, are in some way or another, are we not the extraterrestrials we are looking for?
That's a thought.
And then the other piece is that anybody that is that advanced, whether they are benevolent or malevolent, the idea that what they are to us is probably almost like what we are to an ant.
Yeah, there's
like
that
we
well.
can't we can't even comprehend them in the way that an ant can. Like, they don't know. There's no way they can even understand us.
Well, you hope that they're that advanced that we're nothing to them in a way, but I think if you think about it that way, there's a spectrum.
Well, that's even scarier because then they're like, well, there's no ethics that come into destroying us.
Yeah, then it'd be more like you're getting into a Hitchhiker's Guide situation where Earth's going to be
we're just in the way.
We're in the way.
right. But you would think if they're that big, they've evolved beyond
physical
us being right, exactly. And not Christopher Hitchens. Who's the other big atheist guy?
Richard Dawkins.
I remember I read his book. I can't remember the name of it. It's the famous one.
The Selfish Gene?
No, I think it was not the God Complex. I can't
the
remember.
God Particle or Principle or something.
I can't remember. But I liked his thought about. I mean, it was a book about countering religious arguments or arguments for God. If there is a God in so much as a creator, it is just extraterrestrial life that has evolved the ability to do that.
I like his books. He's an insufferable person.
Like gardeners.
Yeah, in essence, yeah.
Or like or the the Alien Covenant movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of deal.
Yeah. What is it? The one where
with Charlize Theron in it.
Yeah.
Well, basically, the Earth is seeded.
But that was seeded, yeah. I think that's a little different because I don't think the implication for those movies is that those aliens created the universe, so to speak.
You're thinking you're going beyond it where there's.
Well, it could be either way. There could be the seeding of planets, or
there's an
could they actually create
that is actually creating a universe?
Perhaps, or galaxies, or whatever. Which is also sort of Hitchhiker's Galaxy.
I'm not. I think there seems to be a natural progression to things. It makes me feel like there is some sort of purpose to everything, but
fucking Christian over here.
Trust me, COVID and the Trump administration have taken most of my any kind of religious thing I had and pretty much have upended it. But I do still lean towards some sort of there is a purpose, and I hold that loosely, and I don't acknowledge to be able to ever understand that. But there seems to be a progression of some sort.
There is also
That's
the
all.
possibility we're a computer simulation, which fuck those guys if that's true.
There's still, but that would indicate that there's still a purpose.
Let's just see how
yeah,
they like
terrible one.
Let's
Yeah,
just see
there's
how
still
they
a
like
purpose.
this bit of antagonistic code.
I know. It's like,
So the
just
fuck-
let's watch these sacks of shit struggle.
So the what is it? The technology in this observatory
The
for
Voltronic Galaxer.
All right, so moving on.
Well, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just looking at this observatory now, and it looks like a character wearing a goofy hat to me. He's got kind of a big nose. It's like R2-D2 going to a party.
Oh yeah, now I can't unsee it. Holy shit. Go home, you're drunk.
Our scientist friend begins his intergalactic greeting, and it is not Baweep Granaweek.
No.
Ninibong.
it is not.
Missed opportunity. But so he puts it out there, but it is the Decepticons who receive it. And Megatron, the Seekers, they arrive at this observatory very quickly, tear the can off the room, and they make for that Voltronic Galaxer, and the scientist screams for Autobot assistance.
This fucking scientist is so stupid. First of all, he gets an answer immediately, which is not even possible, just considering the speed of light. But like he says, "Where are you? Another galaxy?" First of all, you hear him with your ears. Like, you can tell it's coming from a direction. Second of all, like, not even Star Trek ever went outside the galaxy. Do you know how big I just think a lot of people don't understand how big a galaxy is.
Well, if this guy's an astronomer, he knows that whatever... I mean, is the idea behind this press conference that he's going to do this and maybe hear something immediately?
I can't imagine.
Is this guy a fraud?
Oh, maybe this is like that Thanatos woman who this is just all a scam.
Yeah, he's the Thanatos astronomer.
Fuck that! I like that. We never see him again, but
No, and I guess he has a name because he was named in the TF Wiki, but I don't remember hearing it.
you know what would have been cooler? And Flint Dilley talks about this a lot in his book, The Games Master. He talks about the Voltronic Galaxer. There's a whole episode or paragraph. Chapter on it, and he throws out about 20 better ideas for how to use this. And I thought of one. I think I may be stealing this from him, but what actually would have been cool is if the Voltronic Galaxer did work, and the second act had some previously unknown alien species showing up, able to defeat Earth, and then the Decepticons and Autobots have to work together with the humans.
It'd be
Much
nice if
better
the,
idea.
if the Quintessons showed up.
Yeah.
Well,
These are all better ideas.
They're all better ideas.
we're gonna have to research Larry Strauss, and I hope he's dead so that he doesn't hear our
Well,
critique.
you know,
critique of this
He was
episode.
probably given instruction like, okay, you gotta do this,
and they gotta
this,
crank
this,
it
this,
out.
and this.
They gotta crank
You
it
gotta
out.
do this.
Here's your
Oh.
characters.
You got 30 minutes to do it, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
We're at Autobot headquarters. Blaster's unauthorized broadcast is drowning out the scientists' call for help.
I'm sorry, one point. This is another episode where we just have someone screaming into a microphone for the Autobots. Like, if you remember Megatron's master plan,
Yeah.
the guy just took a microphone from a reporter and just yelled for the Autobots.
Yeah.
That made me laugh.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that microphone is pointed to space. There's no and why do the Autobots have receptors that just take in all transmissions? That's the only way that works, right?
I'm also, now that we're back here, I'm with the Autobots where they scream for Blaster to shut up. I was getting annoyed by this music by this point. Blaster is like that friend who forces what they think is super cool on you, like it's homework. Like, hey, here's a 15-minute video you should watch, or here's a book you should read. Oh, Caleb's not paying attention to me, but I'm subtweeting him.
But maybe
Here's a Miami Vice commercial song that you want to listen to for 3 minutes. It's not funny.
Caleb, I like
I'm
this.
sorry. I'm
Caleb,
sorry.
I
That
like
was-
your contributions.
No, listen, that was a bad move.
Well, Caleb didn't know
not
it was an 18-minute
No,
Pepsi commercial.
I should have. Nope, that was a bad call, and I apologize for not paying attention.
I'm not mad. I just thought it was
Nope.
trying to make you
were
laugh.
completely in your place. You're completely within your bounds of doing that.
Okay.
Well, maybe the Autobots, the rest of the Autobots that aren't Blaster, are like that friend that just hates everything because that's just their personality. They have no good reason to hate it, but you know, they want to be seen as that sort of edgy
Wait.
person who yeah
That's
yeah
not
are
me.
you feeling it
When I play music to Ryan, I know the things that I'm picking are going to give him a hard time.
oh sure
I'm being
Great.
provocative.
I mean you're picking things that give music lovers a hard time.
Yeah, absolutely. But I could easily go another direction and give Ryan stuff that he would enjoy. but I'm not going to do that for certain reasons.
Blaster finally takes the cue, and he turns down the volume, and we hear the scientist asking for help, and we get a strike force together. It's Prime, Ironhide, Prowl, Trailbreaker, Ratchet, Sideswipe, Mirage, Bumblebee, and Sunstreaker all make off for the observatory.
This is a huge cast in this episode,
yes.
which is why normally on a highlight episode they let it's the smaller version
Because it's not really a highlight episode.
Yeah, so
It's transitionary, perhaps.
I don't.
Maybe we'll see more true spotlights in the future.
I like
don't
seeing
know.
all the guys. I'm just like, if you're gonna do a spotlight, do that. If you're not, don't. I don't.
Right.
It's just weird. Anyway,
No, they very surface level introduce Blaster. We've seen a little bit of Cosmos before, but
yeah. And Megatron's Master Plan Part 2 mainly.
and you would think they would lean in on Blaster because you would think that's the kind of character that kids would get into.
Yeah, and it's also like a new toy that's it's a cool toy
Yeah.
and like something that also we just passed it a little bit, but like the transforming porn in this is pretty cool.
It is.
Quick question. The Blaster had the capability of holding cassettes, right?
Yeah.
Were they the same format of cassettes as could you put Laserbeak in Blaster?
I think
In our real world, you could.
That's
Yes.
cool.
yeah. I was
They
trying
made
to
sure
remember
to
if they
make
were
the
same size.
cassette formats the same.
They
like
were all mini. Well, they were
Laserbeak.
mini cassette size. You could actually take a real life mini cassette and put it in Blaster
Oh,
or Soundwave.
No. Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so all I meant to say is like the cassettes for Soundwave and Blaster could be interchangeable.
They could be, yes.
That's cool.
That would have been a cool episode where like somehow I don't know, Laserbeak got inside Blaster.
Yeah.
What the implications of that would
It's
be.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm glad that they took that into
I'm sure that's been
consideration when they
fanfic.
manufactured the toys.
Yeah. And unfortunately, in season 2, you don't even see that Blaster
No.
has tapes. You
That's
don't
the
see-
first revealed in the movie.
Right. The Decepticons grab the Voltronic device and head out.
This is upsetting the way this guy reacts. Like it's almost like he's being victimized in a sexual way. He's like, no, anything but this. It really made me uncomfortable. Anyway.
I didn't really pay attention to how he grapples onto the Galaxer. Megatron picks it up and just kind of shakes him off. So the Decepticons head out, and they are intercepted by another new Decepticon.
yeah.
I think it might be new to this episode, Astrotrain.
I think we've seen him. I don't think he's spoken before this episode.
And maybe we haven't seen all of his modes. Perhaps you're right.
Probably.
Did we see him in the airport episode? I can't remember.
I can't
We saw
remember.
Blitzwing.
He's been here before, but I don't think we've seen his train mode, and maybe not even his shuttle mode.
They're
I think-
definitely making a point to really show off the triple changing aspect here.
Mhm.
So
I love this. He was. I have him. I still have a toy of him, but he was one of my favorite toys as a kid. Very cool.
Space shuttle, baby.
Yeah.
they
Space
plant
shuttle orbiter.
they
Yeah.
they plant the precious cargo into him, then they hop into the train's hull as he turns into a space shuttle. They fly off into space. We don't know what's going on there, but we're going to flip back to the Autobots who show up late to the observatory. The Galaxer is gone, but what would the Decepticons want with it? Unscrambling air codes, intercepting radio transmissions, I suppose. I don't know. I
mean, those seem
invented
like
it.
really powerful things you could do with it. Like those are pretty amazing things.
I think that the professor sounds really bummed out. I think it's kind of interesting. Like he's just pretty bummed out. Listen to the audio; you'll see how bummed out he is.
One other thing to listen for, actually, is Jazz trying to make excuses for being late
Oh,
by throwing Blaster under the bus. and they said they were held up by a musical diversion. And first of all, the scientist doesn't care about that.
No,
He doesn't know
don't give a
what you're
fuck.
talking about. It's a total non sequitur to him.
Yeah.
Also, secondly, they were held up maybe 5 seconds. It made no difference
no, yeah,
about them
stupid.
getting here.
Sorry, we were like didn't know how to push a mute button or walk or walk away from something that we didn't like. If anything, it should have driven them to them
right
faster.
Right, let's just go to the observatory.
No, sorry,
I don't know why.
Sorry,
but
we
it's
were
just cool.
we were sitting somewhere complaining about how we didn't like something.
That's what he should have said.
It's like that guy who listened to 38 of our episodes and was like, no, not for me, 1 star.
And it should have been Prime that said it because Jazz liked it.
That's right.
Anyway.
What an asshole.
You're too late. We got away with the Voltronic Galaxer. We were held up by a little musical diversion.
Who cares?
What would the Decepticons want with your machine? I don't know. They could unscramble air codes or intercept radio transmission.
So you
I
do
suppose.
know.
We'll get it back.
Yeah,
for you.
the super dangerous things you could do with it.
You invented this thing.
I don't know. He's just bummed the fuck out.
He is bummed.
And I
He is
don't-
very sad.
And I don't blame him. Because
Also, why does the door look like Optimus Prime? We're just looking at the entrance to the observatory, and there are 2 windows on either side of a door. It looks like Prime's grill and headlights.
It really do look like Optimus Prime. All right, we're going back to base again. Prime is going to send a lot of Autobots out to remotely try and seek out the Decepticons. It's an APB, my friends. You've got Huffer and Trax. They're on top of some buildings, just inconspicuously monitoring airwaves. Spike, Carly, Power Glide. They are flying over a yacht in a circle. I think scoping some of that sweet animated butt crack, personally, but
I do love Blaster's inside Cosmos. I love anytime we see inside Cosmos. It's so cool. That's it. That's the whole comment.
it does bring up a lot of conversations about the scale of these things, the size. What is it called?
I
The
mean, look at
size
how
and-
large Astrotrain is. You can't even worry about
No,
it.
you cannot. So Cosmos, as Ryan referred to, he's up in motherfucking space with
Yeah,
Blaster. They're
cool,
peeping
man.
for perps up on Earth's rocky lunar satellite when they finally discover the original Transformers moon base dead set in the sea
They built that
of
fucker
tranquility.
fast. And
Well,
also,
for all you know, it was built before they
that's true.
enacted this
I mean,
scheme.
Cosmos is maybe the worst reconnaissance guy ever because he just sits up on that shelf in plain sight and Megatron spots him instantly.
Yeah. Finally, some action. Blaster is going to record the malfeasance he sees at Decepticon headquarters, and it turns out the Decepticons are working to jam the airwaves
Mhm.
between here and Earth. They're discovered. Astrotrain is sent to take them out. There's a very brief battle, but ultimately Astrotrain straight up Galagas Cosmos into his shuttle belly, and that is when we go to commercial. Ryan, I thought there might be some tension here that with you, and that you might want to talk about some of the space things that are wrong here.
Like what?
I don't know how
Ryan,
gravity works
this
on
seems
the
like
moon.
a part where you would complain a lot.
Yeah.
I know. Now I feel like a shithead for pre-complaining for Ryan.
I mean, there's no real. I mean, the moon has 1/6 the gravity of the Earth, but like they fly. So I don't. There's no. This did not bother me at all. Also, this episode's so boring. Like maybe I just was not paying attention at this point. At least it looks good.
The
It's pretty.
the animation in this whole episode is solid. It's just this, and I think they did a fantastic job. There's just the story doesn't support the animation very well.
There's a lot of great shots, a lot of great angles.
No, it's dynamic.
There's some
It's
innovation
good.
happening here.
You don't see coloring error. We don't really see color errors anymore, do we?
Oh, they're there. I think our brains are just trained us
We just
to
don't
look
give a
past
fuck
them.
anymore.
I don't even read that part on the TF Wiki anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Fair enough.
They're generally very long sections.
Yes.
on
Well, they're
TF
not
Wiki.
noticed. I don't notice them anymore because I'm desensitized, or they're not as prevalent. That's all.
Yeah. Well, we come back from commercial. The Autobots are captured. It's Blaster and Cosmos, if you weren't listening. And Megatron is torturing them. And
He bitch slapped Blaster.
he fucks him up twice
Sorry,
in this
is it-
episode.
Is it appropriate to say bitch slap?
I don't know.
Okay, I don't know. I apologize.
Hey,
if
you
that's
just you just own it.
no. I don't. I
You
apologize.
own it.
Okay, I own this. I don't know how to feel about that, but okay, fine.
Yeah, he's deciding how to use these Autobots for scrap, and that is what's going to advance this plot here. Blaster is going to be used as a trans scrambler, and Cosmos will be used as a power booster.
I completely forgot they had a point. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
They're taken prisoner and to be used in, I guess, conjunction with this Voltronic Galaxer, which if you didn't have him, I guess wouldn't work as well.
But you would think that you wouldn't have to keep them alive, though. Why wouldn't you kill them and then use their relevant parts to do whatever you need?
Who
to
was
do?
it that asked this recently? Like, if a Transformer dies, if you could still drive him around. I think I may have seen that on Twitter.
They activate the Voltronic setup, which sends electronic disturbances to Earth. It disrupts all communications. We head to the Central City Airport. We immediately see 2 nearly fatal airport-related collisions. Luckily, Powerglide, Spike, and Carly, they're on the scene to help steer some of these 747s to the soil.
These guys, apparently, when their radios don't work, they can't do shit.
Yeah, it's like their eyes don't work.
Well, I will say, in fairness, pilots don't really. The air traffic controllers are essential to getting pilots to land. Like, the pilots don't take the initiative to land at all. It's all coordinated by air traffic controllers because it's necessary, because you can't really see, like, necessarily what's
Sure.
around you.
But even once the planes are landing on the ground, you see that plane, like, just
It is going wild.
Well, and planes in midair just flying into each other. And do planes not have their own radar as well?
I don't think it works like proximity. I mean, by that point, they're flying. Like, if you had 2 planes flying toward each other, they're going at 1,000 miles an hour toward each other, literally.
I just think that General...
Not by the time they're this close to the Earth.
Yeah.
I think that General Airlines could do better, which is the name of the airline, one of the airlines on here.
I saw that, General Airlines.
Yeah.
Guys.
They could do better.
You know who else needs radios?
Who?
The fucking 1040 out of Crouton Falls.
What the shit is that? The train.
Yeah,
We're back at the railway.
We have these
My dad.
Yep.
This train has no idea that there are 2 simpleton lumberjacks who have decided to saw up a goddamn California redwood over their track. These defectives couldn't work the radio even if it was functional.
No, I think the implication is they're trying to clear the track
They are.
because it was an accident.
And listen, after listening to my dad tell railroad stories, this is probably pretty accurate.
This makes me feel great. Wow, yeah, they do have the dude bail out of the engine because they can't have him die.
That's also a steam engine.
Yes, it is.
It's an outdated train. They were using diesel electrics.
Yeah,
by the
that thing is
80s.
from 1845. It hits the tree and explodes.
And here's the thing, in an already boring episode, that was like 2 minutes of us being shown that radios don't work.
Yes.
Good Lord. And that's why I was like, I had my note here. Oh, man, thank God for Red Alert's crazy ass who just showed up because I was so bored by this time. Inferno says, smell any smoke, and Red Alert goes, no, but I will. There's always a fire somewhere.
Yeah, they're here by sheer luck. Also,
Yes.
they're just close by. They leap right into action, double teaming that blaze like a Ginger's only menage a trois. But from the depths of space, the Seekers swoop in and sling some lasers on the Autobots.
We're not even there
and the
yet.
humans.
There's still a whole nother scene
No, it happens
at the
here.
weather station.
That does look like my dad. He told me a story. He said some coworkers of his built an extra big locker
Look how I was right.
with
Ryan.
put benches in this
No.
extra big
Oh,
locker.
you're right. Yep.
They could shut the doors in one of the buildings so they could just sit in there and sleep.
Good Lord. You're right. I forgot about the Seekers coming down. That's right. And then we go to the weather station, and I'm like, oh my fucking God, another example where radios don't work? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, a snowy, mountain-esque scene.
Now, I'm sorry to interrupt. I will just say later I appreciate this because it's one of the only this episode actually gets a little better once we'll get there at this weather station, but like this pays off later.
All right, thanks for telling us that. It
Sorry.
pays off later. As Ryan's alluding to, it's a snowy, it's kind of mountain-esque. It's just a blizzard happening, and it seems like it's been happening certainly for many hours, if not days. But there's a lot of dumb shit motorists that have no goddamn sense on the road at this point. But they just needed that weatherman to tell them.
Yeah, it's like if I don't have
dangerous out
radio, I can't tell when I should drive.
there. So they're stranded on the road. At this point, we definitely need to make a GIF out of this.
That transformation is fucking cool.
Yeah. Prime plows into Autobot headquarters and nearly hits the ceiling in delivering his message about the Earth's loss of radio transmission. It's a fucking emergency. What should we do about it? This alligator is big and heavy. I said that because there was a group speak.
Yeah, there
Let me
was.
just see if I can capture it.
Teletrans gone dead.
So has all radio transmission on Earth.
The entire planet? We're talking major catastrophe. What are we gonna do? Transform and roll!
To where for what?
That's all they know how to do, Ryan.
Now, I'm going to nerd out a little bit on this one, Aaron. So you'll not gravity on the moon, but radio wave talk.
Yeah,
Okay,
please.
do it.
I don't even understand how that would work. Like, how could you knock out all radio waves on Earth from the moon? Like, because radio waves, aside from AM bands, which can bounce off the ionosphere, they work on line of sight. So at best, you could block like half the planet.
No, it works perfectly fine. That's because the Earth is flat.
Oh, of course.
Ryan, you're not one of those round earthers. Are you?
Yeah. This is also, I mean, you've gone way far ahead, but like this is another example of what would be easier? Just detonate an EM pulse over the planet. That would knock out at least regionally all the electronics.
Maybe we should just assume that's what they've done.
Yeah, it's the magic Voltronic Galaxer, sorry. That's fucking. But now we're about to get to the part where I started liking this episode a little bit.
Okay.
Do you want to talk us through it? We're back at the snowy mountain.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's the scene the Autobots arrive and they start rescuing stranded motorists in this blizzard. I thought that was really on brand and like well done, and they load them into Ratchet for transport. I really enjoyed it. It was like,
How did they know there were problems out here?
I don't even care.
Okay.
I'm just like this whole episode is nonsensical and illogical. So at that, I had been burned out of even asking questions.
There's a guy about to just go off a cliff.
Mm-hmm. And then I think Hoist saves him.
Yeah, some people are just every day stuck, but a couple people are just in really life-threatening danger for no reason at all. It's revealed that Hoist has a special, I guess, infinity grapple mechanism. Sure. So they're picking up some cars so they can get out. They're not even dressed.
They're not dressed for the weather at all. These humans,
and they get piled into Ratchet. They save a dude from an avalanche.
Yeah, Hoist or Trailbreaker uses his force field to save a guy from the avalanche that's going to fall in his car.
It's some good human saving
Yeah,
porn,
I love
if
that's
your thing.
That's what I liked about it. That's why I liked it, because they're doing what they do. Okay, so the Seekers attack.
Yes.
And this is another thing I liked, because we see Prowl, Trailbreaker, and Hoist putting themselves in the line of fire, and because they say they have to absorb the bombs to protect the humans. It was legit good. I liked it. I thought it was nice.
Yeah, it's true. The Autobots they're scrambling to protect the humans. They again leverage the Trailbreaker force field to put it over Ratchet and the humans, and after the smoke clears, and I should say, actually, before you get into that, I thought it was a little funny how all these Autobots get under the force field, but Trailbreaker is still out there. He's still kind of fucked. Well, there's a pretty intense bombing sequence, and when we come out of it, the Autobots seem like they might be buried. Every single car is destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And then Megatron...
My insurance rates are gonna go through the roof! I thought would have been a good line.
Allstate has accident forgiveness.
You're in
good hands.
Yeah. He took it from me.
What was the...
Stop calling me the Allstate guy.
Stop calling me. Like, that's that skit from SNL with Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Stop calling me that. Stop. I'm not going to do it. Just go check it out, people.
Well, we're back on the moon. Back on the moon. Megatron, he's taken over the airwaves. The Earth is fucked. The Autobots aren't going to be able to help him much longer. Blaster seems like maybe there's something coy going on in his head. We go back to the airfield. Fucking Optimus Prime. He's helping direct air traffic from the ground at this point. You got Spike, Carly, Powerglide. They're helping from above. But then we're going to get another Seeker attack.
They're all over the Earth, man. Yeah. And it's just the same, too. It's like Thrust and I think Thundercracker.
Yeah. The jets KO Prime and then shoot up Powerglide, sending he and the humans crashing toward the control towers. And we go to commercial.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, the plane doesn't crash at this time. I'm explaining this to you because you look nervous. Because we can stop now if you want.
It's not going to be kissing, is there?
Thinking quickly, back from the commercial.
This is another bit I liked. Go ahead.
Carly and Spike find some emergency jetpacks, stick them to the outside of the cockpit, and set them off, which gives Powerglide enough extra oomph to pull out of his dive and not crash into the traffic control tower full of humans.
They also look like the jetpack that comes with, I think, MP10 Prime.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they grab these jetpacks and they put them on Powerglide. At first, I thought they were going to use them to save themselves.
I did too.
How
did too.
fucked up would that be?
But I loved that they didn't. Yeah, they strapped at great risk to themselves. They strapped him to Powerglide to save him. I like all the friendship good stuff in this episode, like that kind of thing, and being good to rescue people. But
couldn't they jump out and he just transforms and is okay?
I don't know.
I think. Oh, not MP45. It's not MP10. It's the newer Optimus Prime. I think
It's whatever you gave me for Christmas like 2 years ago.
Oh, that came with the jetpack?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a knockoff, but
Oh.
The original didn't come up with it. Anyway, all right. Well, it was.
This-
You got a knockoff mini.
I
Buddy.
just like the Autobots are being so awesome in this episode, and it's one where the Autobots are way cooler than the Decepticons, who don't do anything really. I mean, they shoot stuff up, but like,
Well, you've got these attack raids.
yeah,
That
that's.
are basically meant to hold the Autobots at bay.
I guess to me, this is one episode where the Autobots are way more interesting than the Decepticons.
Except for Blaster.
Yeah.
Speaking of, Megatron comes back on the radio. He makes an intriguing offer
Fucking
to
fuck.
the people of Earth that he'll give you back those airwaves so you can watch your honeymooners or whatever you want.
It seems so.
It's so.
but-
Go ahead.
Only if the humans give him all of Earth's energy resources. Coal,
Ugh.
all your oil, your gas, your electricity, all of it.
I'd be like,
You know what this is? A meaningless threat.
Yeah.
Because guess what? You need to like run all that shit is energy.
I'd be like, no, that's fine. Of course, everybody here
Yeah.
doesn't get it. They're like, oh no.
Right.
Well, no. What do you mean? That's fine. That's just thing that nobody would ever agree to.
No, what I mean
Right.
is like you can. I'm sorry. You can keep the radio
Oh,
waves,
right,
Megatron.
right.
I'll be good with all of the energy.
Right.
Right.
You
Yeah.
can
It's
stay on the moon,
Oh.
Because guess what? We invented Bluetooth. Do satellites use radio waves?
or just
Yeah.
or telegraph.
Back to the Polar
Uh,
Express,
Yeah,
baby.
Ride, postman. Ride, postman.
Isn't that radio also though?
Call Kevin Costner.
Telegraph?
Yeah.
No,
That's wire.
It's electricity. It's just
Wire.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Idiot.
I'm over here. Who do you think you are, Marconi?
I'm not smart enough to get that reference.
Invented the radio.
Okay. Blaster secretly broadcasts a rockin' tune. Carly uses her dad's Master Charge. Does
So
anybody ever
weird.
say Master Charge instead of MasterCard? Does that ever weird you out?
That's a thing. I don't know why. Is MasterCard going to come after you? Because that's the thing they do in movies too.
I
It's
don't
like
know.
so strange.
I think
Or
my family said the words Master Charge.
Oh, I've never
really?
heard someone say it in real life.
Oh yeah, my dad used to say across, like I'm going across the street.
Oh well, some people are just dumb.
Yeah, I for a while I said
It was my adopted dad, not biological. I didn't inherit
Woo.
that.
when I was
moronic shit.
doing hanging artwork for a living, I would say height, and I found out height. It's height.
right.
Don't say height. You think you're sounding like I thought height was like the proper way. It is not. It's not right at all. It's height.
Mm-hmm.
Height means nothing other than you're an idiot that's mispronouncing height.
Now go wash your clothes.
Yeah.
We could do this all day.
They didn't even say Master Charge in this episode. I just said it to be funny.
Oh.
Yeah. There's
I don't even remember why you brought it up.
because Carly takes her Master Charge and jams it into a
Oh.
slot in Powerglide, and that is what helps determine that Blaster is on the fucking moon.
This is the most ridiculous roundabout. I guess they have to jam the the music back into it somehow. But like, if you're playing music, why not just say, "Hey, we're on the moon"?
Yeah. Or why? What's the difference insofar as tracking this? Well, if it's Blaster's audio waves or Megatron's audio waves, you could track it at any time.
It's weird. All of it's weird.
We talked about Megatron.
We did not talk about Powerglide picking Prime up like this, though.
I didn't actually make any notes on it. Talk about it.
Oh, but yeah.
Oh, is this my gin?
Yes. That's the weird thing where, like, after they strap the jetpack to Power Glide, he swoops in to pick up Optimus Prime with, like, a magnetic long line that comes out of the bottom of Power Glide and scoops him up to go away, but then the jetpack to rescue him, but then, like, yeah, the jetpack starts to fail.
They can't be good for Optimus Prime's spine.
I mean, he's been so fucked up so many times, I don't even know if it matters. It is very weird to see him carrying Prime like this.
We've got the rest of the mountain-based Autobots. They have not moved since the secret attack that we saw earlier. And why not? It doesn't matter because they're covered in feet of snow.
The snow's finally stopped, and they can start up their engines, I guess.
The sound of Blaster's bass tapes is what gives them the motivation to somehow shake off that snow and go somewhere else. And you know what? We're going to go ahead and transition to
All
the
these
rocks, the mountains, Omega Supreme.
All these shots of Mega Supreme are so cool. Like, they're really good. Oh, yeah, right here we have Carly putting in what is it, like a temporary transistor or something that may help save Optimus's life, I think is what she says.
They don't go into too many details. I feel like it's just hey, remember the Carly's smart thing?
It comes back in a little bit, but yeah, this also, when they're loading him into Mega Supreme, reminded me of them.
It's so slow. It's so slow. Are you thinking about loading him in the crematorium?
Yes, in the Return of Optimus Prime. Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking about.
Yeah, interesting. That didn't hit me until right now. But yeah, it's a very slow sequence, and they load they make Power Glide and the humans take an escalator up into Omega Supreme.
It's so
transforms.
Pretty. Like,
it's great animation.
Yeah. Power Glide says, boom, bang, zoom, to the moon, which is a Ralph Cramden
He
reference
said it.
From
He
the
did it.
Honeymooners.
He
Yeah.
did the thing that his character's based on.
No, I want to go to the moon.
They also, there was a funny sequence where Carly was like, I've never been to the moon.
What?
Carly is very excited to go to the moon because she's never been there, Ryan.
I've never been there. I'm with her. I want to go to the moon so bad.
She says it in such a way, in the
Like
same way
I've never
that,
been to
Mexico.
Yeah, there you go. I've never been to Vegas.
Well, Omega Supreme,
But they have been to Cybertron, so maybe by this point it's blasé to go to somewhere
It's
so
true.
pedestrian as the moon.
She is given her education and her car and outfit. I assume that she is of the bourgeois.
We should point out at this point, audience, that Caleb had to go.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're gonna do different paradigm right now.
We had to pick this back up, and
we had to record another episode with some guests, and
Mhm.
it was a very fun time indeed.
look forward to that in 2 weeks. It's excellent.
But for now, put up with this bullshit.
But you'll have to deal with this for now. And yeah, so Caleb had to go. But
Caleb's gone. It's just Ryan. It's just Aaron, and we're
please don't click off.
45% more inebriated. Than
It's true. There
we
may have
were
been a
last
change in
episode.
tone. It is 4 hours later.
It literally took 5 hours to record that last
Yeah.
episode. So, oh Jesus Christ, we're in for it. Omega Supreme demands that they rescue their peeps, and he draws Prime inside of him, as we covered earlier.
Yep.
Prime's like everybody's up in there. And now we are on Megatron's base again. Megatron continues to threaten Earthlings from his moon base.
Meaningless threats.
He discovers that Blasters has a ruse going on, and that he threatens to give them a taste of the fusion cannon fondue. But then Omega Supreme lands on the moon, and here we see this is fucked up. We see Megatron beat the fuck out of Blaster. They focus in on Blaster's 2 buttons. That's the giveaway. Like two of his buttons are pushed down
to indicate he's broadcasting or playing or something or whatever, even though it's not even any of the buttons he pushed earlier. Because the one he pushed earlier was all the way to the left of his body. So we're just playing fast and loose.
Still great animation.
Yeah, and then Omega lands and blasts the roof off of their observatory.
Megatron and Astro Train, they rush to confront them. Omega's passengers disembark, and Omega turns into his giant
We do
robot
cheat a
mode.
bit where it's like, yeah, all his tanks and everything are here.
Yeah. It's one of the delightful things about Omega Supreme.
Sure.
He's able to just tuck that shit into some kind of dimensional warp hole. But we're here on the moon. He lets also another thing that people like to call out is how Spike and
Carly have
Carly
spacesuits.
have spacesuits on, yes.
Eh,
But there's a confrontation. You'd have to assume that he's going to account for that.
Yeah.
He's going to let him be in there. To
that
begin
doesn't
with.
bother me.
But he demands the release of the Autobots. Megatron declines. Astro Train rams into the back of Omega's cankles, causing Omega to drop Megatron. Omega transforms and sends his rocket after Astro Chain, who is transformed into chain mode.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of Omega Supreme action. Frankly.
Yeah, it's like, hey kids, look at how cool this toy is. Look at how many things you can do with it. It's an awesome playset, right?
Christmas season.
This is fucked up. Like, yeah, we're where Megatron is just standing over Optimus.
This was an October episode, so this is gearing you up.
Yeah, for
the
Christmas,
holidays, yeah.
parents. And Optimus regains consciousness based, I am pretty sure, on the fact that Carly put that little chip into him that gave him temporary power.
But they don't really connect it.
Eh,
They're just like, Optimus is awake now.
yeah, I guess I thought that was what that was supposed to be, like, because why else would you show that? But
I guess. Yeah. I mean, yes, you're right. I'm sure. It's just.
it's almost like this episode isn't written very well. Huh.
It's poorly connected. Cosmos and Blaster are they're still inside this moon base. They're alive, by the way. They were not killed as they should have been by their Decepticon kidnappers. And they're going to work to overload the system here. You've got Blaster. He is going to overload it with his radio waves or whatever the fuck he's doing. And then the power guy, Cosmos. This is going to be a good episode.
Yep.
He overloads it power-wise. What do you have to say
And
about that, Ryan?
I love it. It's 1, 2, 3. How do you be?
Buckle my shoe. Prime gets the jump on Megatron, who retreats as Omega Supreme catches up with Astro Train and tosses him into the next fucking galaxy. This episode is over, Ryan. I mean, you got Prime.
There is a point, like, well, at the end of this episode, like, because Prime, I don't know, there's some kind of weird.
Actually, that's some weird animation. Sorry, just to back up a little bit here. This is a kind of an angle we've never seen before here at 2045. The way that Prime's chest is, the
Square.
windows aren't. Yeah, that like proportionately, his windows would never look like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, the animation of this is good, if not.
That's anime-esque. Right,
it's not, not necessarily spec. It is good. That part where they're all running toward the screen as they run out of the moon. So I watched this on Tubi TV, and presumably when Blaster, like, Prime gives him a lesson of, like, hey, know when to play your music, and then Blaster immediately is like, what if I don't, and just play the music?
Yeah, it's true.
But on Tubi TV, there's no music. It's
Really?
just the sounds of Cybertron. Yeah, there's no. It doesn't play anything.
And I'm pretty sure there is music on my version.
Well, we could find out right now.
You must decide when is the right time and the wrong time to use it.
No, there still isn't. He doesn't-
Blaster! Hey, Prime! Dig the decimals!
So, okay, yeah, great point. So they showed animation of Blaster pushing down, I presumably on a
His
play button, and no music plays, but yet you get Optimus Prime
Optimus
being
acts
very
as
upset
if
about it.
There is music playing. So
That is a very
what a
weird
fucking
sequence.
weird episode.
yeah. So and just to catch you up on kind of what happens, Prime commended Blaster and Cosmos for work well done. He being Blaster, he wants to stay on the moon and build a communication center while also keeping Cosmos company, who I guess is just kind of a roaming the general Earth outer atmosphere area as kind of a guard or sentry. And Prime is cool with that, but that's where he says, Blaster, you got to remember, like, your volume is your responsibility. And so then they're running from the lunar surface. And yes, Blaster pushes a button as if like a kind of a final gag, like, oh, hey, a little rock and roll to play us out. And then Prime chastises him as if he's actually doing something, but there's no audio.
Yeah, he says Blaster, and but there's no audio.
I guess I didn't catch that on TF Wiki if there was any explanation for that.
I didn't even see that either. So,
all right.
Fuck.
Hey, we're at the end of this episode.
We're breaking news.
We aren't just regurgitators of TF Wiki.
We don't just steal stuff from TF Wiki.
We're originals, all right? And part of that is saying, hey, look, here's a thought crime that has not been explored, which is the Blaster button playing music. Prime is either an asshole in this situation or somebody fucked up in editing.
I think somebody did not add an audio track. Maybe the same people who decide to overlay 2 tracks at the beginning on the concert.
The astronomer of this episode was named Haley after Halley's Comet, which was passing through Earth's field of view at this point in time. There was a period of time in the 80s. Halley's Comet fever.
1986.
Was that 86?
It was 86.
So this would have been pre that for sure. This would have been like 85.
But it would have been
we're
coming.
getting ready. Everybody, they're talking about it. They're getting ready.
I remember because I saw it in 86 as a kid, and I was very into it. And I was also into the idea of maybe I can see Halley's Comet twice in my lifetime because it comes around every 76 years approximately.
Mark Twain in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And now I'm like, man.
Sorry, Samuel Clemens.
And now I'm like, man, if I could just die like tomorrow, that'd be cool.
There's plenty of reasons for you to die tomorrow, but the voice actors, we had Omega Supreme and the Professor. I didn't do the research. I just completely neglected it.
We really phoned this one, didn't we?
Well, it's a 2-for-1 recording session. We were recording with our friends Haley and Bono, and there was a lot of preparation for that. And
it's true.
So this suffered. I'm happy, actually. Let's see here.
We could do the research right now. We could do. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, we could do it live. I mean, a bunch of this is going to be edited out by yours truly. But
no. Here's my Jessica Rabbit Disney parks. By the way, did you guys know that Jessica Rabbit is sexually attractive?
Who knew?
And her character was intended to be as such. All right, so we're going to learn about Omega Supreme G1 TF Wiki.
I think it's Jack Angel, if I'm not mistaken.
That's a cool drawing. That is gotta be
awesome.
Studio Ox interpretation. But let's get down here. Jack, you're right, Ryan.
God damn, I'm so good.
Fucking A, Jack Angel, the handsome son of a bitch responsible for such characters as Astro Train, Breakdown, Cyclonus.
Well, we have similar style tastes.
He is wearing a suit. Sentinel Prime, Ramjet, and of course Ultra Magnus on the ongoing series. So I'm glad we
don't
got that
tell
covered.
Alpha Magnus. He hates Jack Angel.
I know that is truth. It's very sad, honestly. Only cares about Robert Stack. The next one is Professor. Hang on.
Oh, Professor Haley.
Professor Haley was voice actor John Stevenson. That doesn't sound familiar.
No, that doesn't ring a bell.
He worked in the animation business, particularly Hanna-Barbera in the 1950s. Most recognizable characters being Mr. Slate from the Flintstones, Doggy Daddy from Augie Doggy, and Captain Murphy from C-Lab 2020. Okay, well, I think we have covered him before. I just don't recollect it. Was he Captain Murphy in the Adult Swim?
No.
C-Lab 2020. You don't think so?
No, but also, guess what?
He also Alpha Trion, Bosch, Thundercracker, Windcharger. Like he actually Cup, Huffer. He's got a pretty good. He's got a pretty good roster of characters there.
Also, C-Lab 2021. That's this year.
They totally
forgot
about the Capitol siege.
Well, that's why they went down there, was they were trying to escape.
Wait a minute. Are all the people in C-Lab 2020 Trump?
No. They were trying to escape the virus.
No, are you sure they weren't just trying to create a new fascist
I choose
society?
to not play with this game that they
Bizarro,
did not do.
Bizarro, I love
Bizarro, I love you.
Okay, well, that was a very bad interpretation.
Thank you,
of
John.
John Stevenson's career. He's dead, so
So there you go.
In the real world.
Okay. Hey, fuck nuts. Fig nuts. In the real world, Blaster Blues aired October 23rd, 1985 in the American Top 40. I didn't make a list of songs I've covered because it's getting really hard to remember what I've done, what I haven't done. I keep having to search through my old notes on Google Drive. This week was Whitney Houston's Saving All My Love for You.
we talked about it.
We covered it in the last
Great
episode.
song. Great
Yep.
song.
So I went with the number one from July 6, 1985, Susudio. Another hit by Mr. Phil Collins, After One More Night, which we talked about in episode 144. I'm starting to notice a pattern with Phil, because the Wikipedia entry says he improvised the lyric while dicking around with his drum machine, as we all remember, an 808.
Did the Wikipedia article say
He did not say dicking around. That's my editorializing. Phil, this is a quote from Phil. I kind of knew... Oh, no, I'll do it in my Phil Collins accent. I kind of knew I had to find something else for that word. Then I went back and tried to find another word that scanned as well as Susudio, and I couldn't find one, so I went back to Susudio. Which is
Great insight, Phil.
Yeah. This is, again, why I'm like, maybe he's not the lyrical genius we all thought he was. According to Collins, the song is about a crush on a girl at school.
Okay.
That's all I have.
What kind of school?
It's not clear, but if it was in England, it would be it's just a terrible school with people who don't want you to
Okay,
win.
moving
I
on.
don't know.
they
wasn't-
don't want you
I
there.
was not prepared for that question.
I didn't know if it was a Catholic school or.
I did not say.
Okay. All right.
Number one at the box office. Hey, we're back into reruns. I kind of wish Caleb were here for this, but it doesn't.
I'll be Caleb.
Okay, so
I'll be better.
So you be quiet. We're back into reruns because it's again Death Wish 3. So I picked another one of my favorite movies from 1985. Dare I say, one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time, Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon.
I do have a memory of this before you get into it. I went to a double feature with my adopted father, who I thought was my real father at the time. I was whatever age I would have been in this year of 1985.
So
7?
yeah.
And maybe 8. The primary movie was The Karate Kid.
Okay.
We watched The Karate Kid, loved it, of course.
Sure.
Right up my alley for that time of my life. And then this was the follow-up movie.
So you saw this movie in the theater?
No, I did not.
Oh.
I saw about a third of the movie in the theater, and my father hated it so much, he pulled me out of the theater. We left the theater. He didn't give a fuck about it. Said it was shit. Couldn't handle it. Bullshit.
Was your
This is a memory.
racist?
This is a memory I have of this movie. I don't know what his beef was with the movie. I remember I was there for Karate Kid. That was the pop culture sensation at the time. I didn't know anything about this movie. But yeah, he didn't
Wow.
like it. We didn't finish it. Pulled out. One of the 2 movies in my life I can probably remember walking out of a theater.
Holy shit. Wow.
So yeah.
Have you seen it since?
I went to a friend's birthday party in about the second grade.
Again, why do you guys having friends other than me?
And well, this is before I really knew you.
Okay.
This is before we were friends.
No,
This is
I'll allow it.
but you do know some of these people. Bradley Newberry was there.
Mhm.
Tommy Lair was there. These were people that were in my second grade class, and it was a movie that had been rented on VHS to watch, and I fell asleep.
Okay. So you have not seen this movie?
Nope.
Is the answer to my
That is a very long way to say
You've
nope,
had
I have
multiple
not
opportunities
seen
to see this movie.
movie.
It's never been accomplished.
So tell me about it.
Oh my God, I love this movie. This is, like I said, in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. It's starring I'm sorry if I mispronounce this. Tamok. Is the lead character who plays Bruce Leroy, Vanity, and Julius J. Carey III.
Is Vanity the prince protege?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Her life didn't.
No.
It did not go so good.
I am familiar with that. Yes.
Okay.
Bad news.
I did a video. I actually did a video of filming locations for this picture when I visited New York back in 2017. You can see it up on my YouTube. Just search for Ryan Jett. I'm not the MMA fighter. And you find it. Leroy Green, known in the neighborhood as Bruce Leroy, is a martial artist who finishes training with his master and is sent on a quest for the final level, the Last Dragon. And once achieved, he will gain the power of the glow. Like most martial arts movies, everyone in this movie seems to know how to fight with martial arts. The antagonist, oh my gosh, so fucking awesome. The antagonist is another martial arts artist named the Shogun of Harlem, Sho'nuff, who has the best lines in the movie. In his first scene, there's a call and response where Sho'nuff shows up with his entourage in a theater.
Am I the meanest?
Sure enough.
Am I the prettiest?
Sure enough.
Am I the baddest mofo low down around this town?
Sure enough.
Well, who am I?
Sure enough.
Who am I?
Sure enough.
I can't hear you.
Sure enough.
The Shogun of Harlem.
Our main character, Bruce Leroy, I believe is eating popcorn with chopsticks and watching a Bruce Lee movie.
He's very dedicated. He's culturally appropriating that Asian culture.
Yes,
he
but
is very into it.
he is so earnest. And also this guy who plays Bruce Leroy, he is so earnest, and like he plays him in such a sweet, like wonderful way. It's amazing. Like I love his performance. Everybody's performance in this is so good. As I'm describing this, it sounds kind of insane because there's another villain who kidnaps Laura Charles, played by Vanity, because she's a VJ on a show, and this arcade mogul, Eddie Arcadian, who owns an arcade.
Yeah, there's a lot of on the nose references. Bruce Leroy.
Yeah.
Arcadian.
Well, he wants Vanity to put his aspiring girlfriend on her show because this girlfriend wants to be a singer. I can't remember her name, but she's kind of like not Madonna. Who's not Madonna? The other one
of the 80s era that was similarly provocative or popular.
No,
who's not Madonna?
Cindy Lauper.
Okay.
She's like Cindy
I'm with
Lauper.
you. I can see a shared.
She's like a Cindy Lauper type
to an extent.
Anyway, but Bruce Leroy rescues Vanity from his clutches and saves her, and they have a really weird, strange romantic vibe because Bruce Leroy is a virgin, and his little brother tries to explain the theory of sex to him through a story about paintbrushes. Which, honestly, again, as I'm describing this, it sounds insane. I cannot recommend this movie highly enough.
And
this movie is so good.
But it's like a super karate movie, right?
Yeah, it's
like
an action movie.
from beginning to end.
Yeah, it is. It's
I don't
so
know why,
good.
I don't know why my adoptive father. I'm stressing the word adoptive. I don't know why he would have walked out of that.
It's so I don't either because like just
Unless he's racist, which he might be.
There, it is predominant. Like that's
I
one of the things. It's a rarity, and it's a martial arts movie that's mostly black main cast, in addition to a large number of white and Asian actors.
This takes me to another just interesting question: just how the aesthetic of martial art pictures and are incorporated into African American culture.
Well,
how that folds in.
Well, and this is the thing. Like, actually, my girlfriend, we've talked about this as well. Like, her family loved watching, like kung fu movies. It's a movie you can watch with someone who's not. It's not white centric. It's not. It's watching a movie that has an Asian star, and all the people in the movie they're Asian. It's like it's being able to watch a movie with someone who is in a minority. That's part of the appeal.
I feel like this dates back to some of the research I did when I was in college. Martial arts were marketed heavily in African American neighborhoods across the country, and maybe I don't know if it's because culturally they were into that genre of movie. Karate schools opened up a lot in those neighborhoods, or maybe it was just like a solution to the violence, or a way to even just kind of give confidence in kids who are dealing with.
Like I think a big part of like the fact that like a lot of black people like kung fu movies is because it's an opportunity to see something that's not white. This movie did very well at the box office. It earned $33 million on a $10 million budget. And also, as a fun catchphrase, Leroy Green's family owns a pizzeria, and their slogan is "Just direct your pizza to Daddy Green's Pizza," which makes me laugh.
That is a terrible.
Also, there's a tiny role played by William H. Macy in this movie before he became famous. He's great in this cameo in this
What
movie.
does he do?
He is trying to get Vanity to do a spot. He's basically like trying to get her to do something, and she's like, "No, I don't want to do it." And I think it may be involved with Eddie Arcanian trying to get the video of his girlfriend on the show early on in the episode or early on in the movie. But yeah.
Well,
That is it for the movies. Fun fact: I have no fun facts from this week.
no fun facts.
I have nothing.
Nothing is fun.
You get nothing. You get nothing.
And nothing are facts.
Deviations.
All right, this one was written by Larry Strauss, March 13th, 1985, edited by Ron Friedman, March 18th, 1985. This is one of the rare ones that they don't seem to take many of Ron Friedman's edits instead of opting for the original ones in many instances. I don't know if like there was a period where they're like, maybe Ron Friedman, maybe we don't. This is including where Ron changes the name of the Voltronic Galaxer to the Intersolar Translator. And they're like, nah. Like, they don't take that. They don't take that edit.
I agree with that based on the fact that rename doesn't advance the plot, or it doesn't.
It's not as good, honestly, yeah. Yeah. There's not a lot of other interesting stuff in the original script, other than shit that's basically cut for time, like B and Cliffjumper train. They actually train with Omega in that scene.
They're not even in this episode.
No, they're not. But in the script, they train with Omega in the latter's target practice, but they're using special harmless darts, where Omega Supreme is trying to hit them with darts.
Okay.
Which I'm like, yeah, that's boring and stupid. We talked about...
I appreciate trying to at least establish Omega Supreme as a character.
I guess.
Because we've seen 2 episodes in a row now with Omega Supreme. Well, you and I have, the listener hasn't. But spoilers for the future, we've seen 2 episodes with Omega Supreme. He doesn't do much.
No.
And
Omega
we don't know much about him.
Here. Which is a pity. We'll see some better development from Mega Supreme in a little bit.
We'll see development better.
That's
we'll see how it
debatable.
goes.
We talked about this writer of the episode, Larry Strauss, back on the Ultimate Doom #1. The entirety of his TF Wiki entry is a quote. I gave up writing for TV after a few years when I told the producers of the Transformers, the show about cars that transform into robots, that we have been tagged as the third most violent children's television program, and the producer said we would not be satisfied until we were #1 on that list. I don't know about that quote because it's from a single source on the TF Wiki, so I don't know if that's real. He also actually did write a few future episodes we'll review, so I guess we'll revisit him. Triple Takeover and The Revenge of Buticus. The Revenge of Bruticus.
I like Budicrous.
The Revenge of Budicrous.
And I'm also glad that you did this since I did not do it. Like, just revisit the writer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is strange because his only other writing credits are 1 episode each for The Facts of Life and 227.
Jack A.
Yeah, Jack A. And like that's a weird, strange. Anyway, everybody, you know what is a great show? 227's good too, but Living Single. Watch Living Single. Love that show.
Way in that forward. Ryan, would you please rate the scheme?
So again, if the premise of the story, the Voltronic Galaxer, hadn't been so nebulous and stupid, like this could have been one of the really good G1 episodes. Like the Decepticons' plan was dumb and pointless. Why would anyone agree these terms, as we said? And the Autobots were super capable and great in this one. And the human characters were also good. So I'm like, I don't even know if there was a scheme. Like, if we're rating
There was a scheme, but it's pretty stupid.
The Decepticon scheme is a 1 because nobody would ever agree to your terms.
I think one of their worst schemes of all times. Like, they have to think humans are pretty stupid.
Yeah.
To think we really need our radio waves.
But guess, but now we have no way of powering them. Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
So, okay, we can.
I'm the ghost of the iconic moment.
You know, I love the part where the Autobots were saving the humans from the blizzard. Like, their behavior and attitude was just a perfect, like, exemplification of what the Autobot philosophy is about, and like everything about that. I love it. It was perfect.
And that's true. That is really a great distillation of what the Autobots are all about. I mean, they're fighting Decepticons while also pulling humans out of tragedy. My only comment was that I was disappointed that it feels like this is supposed to be a spotlight episode on Blaster.
Yeah, and they don't.
And
he's a bookend.
There's so much cool shit you can do with Blaster, and this is how you focus on him.
Yeah,
you get him captured. He's a hostage the whole episode, and it is this half-ass sort of.
Yeah, it's bad.
I play bad music that nobody likes because I'm crazy and down with the youth culture, like you kids. You kids like music your grown-ups don't like.
Yeah, it's bad. It's just handled really poorly.
Hey, everybody, if you'd like to support us, you can do it one of 2 ways, via Patreon or some merch through the APDC store. Check out our goods at the website or autopoddecepticast.patreon.com/autopod.
That's not even even remotely the address.
I think you can
You can find us. Whatever.
Figure it out. Hey,
go to Ask Jeeves.
Sir, what would you like to search on the internet today, other than pornography, of course?
I want to find those guys who make the funny the robots.
Autopod Decepticast.
Thank you. This is good theater.
Also, I like this imitation of our audience. So condescending.
They can't figure it out.
If you'd like to continue to listen to us, let me just, I don't know what you're listening to us on, but pretend that you're unsatisfied with the platform.
Maybe you're not listening to us on anything because Megatron has stolen our radio waves.
I know. Oh, God. But you could find us at Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, and TuneIn. You know, it wouldn't hurt to review us on Apple Podcasts.
5 stars, please.
There's also our social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. All of them at APODcast. The website, where it all happens. All the things come together and coalesce.
There truly are a lot of ancillary fun things on there if you want to go check it out.
All right, well, that was a great episode. I liked hanging out with you.
I enjoyed it too. I always love hanging out with you because you're my friend.
Aw.
And friendship is magic.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. This is a good episode.
You said it. I think you've worn that before, right?
This suit, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've worn it before. I just got it like a couple months ago.
Caleb, I understand you're going to be doing a photo shoot soon with my wife. That sounded weird
Boy,
the
that
way
all
I put
sounds
that.
Very strange, but your wife will be taking pictures of me and my family. That is correct. I don't know any other details than that. I think
Yeah.
it's happening Monday.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Cool.
I'll be her assistant.
I guess we're going over to some park.
Yeah, I
near our
think
house.
Andy picked that out.
Yeah.
Do you know the park? Know the park?
I do. There's a lot of different photo types situations that could be done over there.
It's amazing. She put it out on Facebook, and there's already this crazy huge demand. But she's going to be doing a shoot at Wonders of Wildlife. I don't know if you have enough experience with that place that you might just be able to think of what some good backgrounds
Do
and
they
things
allow
like that are.
photography in there?
I would assume they would. But she has a friend there that's going to
Well,
be
they
getting
s-
them in. And she knows what they're going there for. It's to shoot. She's going to be shooting a little 3-year-old there. But
Okay. I'd say she goes.
I mean,
for it.
we'll
She
find-
should
she'll
go-
find
she'll
out.
Just go for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, it's owned by Bass Pro, and back in high school, Aaron and I did a little video project
Oh,
where
yeah.
we went into places to see if they'd kick us out for filming videos in there, and Bass Pro was like, "No, we love it." They were the only ones. Walmart was very upset, and
the mall kicked us out,
the
too.
mall as well.
I wish we still had that
I forgot
video.
about that.
That's some
You guys are
Americana.
subversive.
Well, so subversive that we actually also had some really strange gags that we kept in the edit and were broadcast to the whole school, including Ryan pretending to go up to some lady's clothes, and then he stuffed it down his shirt like he was taking it to wear later.
I just don't think the school. They didn't vet. The teachers didn't vet anything.
It was Townsend, so of course
Yeah,
not.
Yeah,
there was
it
nothing-
was the Wild West. We could put anything we wanted on there.
It was yeah. There was nothing vetted. He was just like, you got something done, good, because he was too busy with theater stuff anyway.
Right, that's all
Video
we cared
production was
about.
kind of a. if
They
you-
probably forced him to have to
I
teach
was-
another class.
I was in that class. I did. The only thing I could claim to fame was that I was in a group with Travis Andrews and Byron Smith, and Byron Smith started doing editing work on the video toaster in there for these little things that we made, like you guys.
Mhm.
And he's now an editor in Hollywood for he was for Nip
Yeah.
Tuck and
He's legit.
a bunch of other productions.
I feel like he was connected to Breaking Bad as
he probably was.
let's
but
IMDb him.
Byron Smith ended up becoming like a very sought after editor in Hollywood, mostly for television. This is nothing like revolutionary thought, but yeah, editing can make or break a television show or a movie.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
Caddyshack, they didn't know how they were going to make it work.
Mhm.
They went and they filmed all this stuff, and it totally makes sense when you look at it now. But
What's the name of that book? It's great.
Cinderella, Caddyshack, the making of a Cinderella story.
Caleb finally got it back.
I got it back
me.
from today.
I still haven't read it.
Aaron?
It?
How was
It was really wild. Some of the stories they told.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like all they did was do drugs and then film a little bit, write a little bit, do more drugs.
Yeah.
It was
Man, you're
crazy.
a voracious reader. I know.
It's a great book. It is an awesome.
Only
book.
had it for over a
but they-
year.
Did you get photos?
I'll take one of it later,
Oh,
just
okay.
because it slows us down so
All
much.
Bro Cells is the sponsor of Autopod Decepticast. Yes, 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 yes.